Up first, we've got a tale as old as time.
Yep.
Discrimination. Ever heard of it?
Yeah. White guys with kind of different names? Ever heard of that?
Not even.
Ever heard of oppression?
Actually, Miles, we have a white guy with a kind of different name here today.
This is actually perfect. This will be a good moment for someone to weigh
After we
in.
get into the story, I got a ton to say about this guy.
Yeah, this guy rules. The story of a man named Chad.
Just read the title of this fucking op-ed from Business Insider. My name is Chad. Yes, I'm white, work an office job, and sometimes I wear a vest. This is not a joke. That's what the fucking title is.
Yeah, that's right. That's how he's going into every interaction with anyone. Yeah, that's right. I'm white, guys. Sorry. Drink it in. What?
Don't cancel
Take a
me.
picture. Oh,
yeah,
why did
I
you
work in an office. Are you happy? What? No, I don't care at all.
want to put me in a zoo on Coney Island for people to gawk at?
Want to put me in a zoo is so fucking funny. Anyway, the vest thing is
What is he? What is he referring to?
Younger
Dude,
than me.
there's
or
a lot.
something.
There's a lot of texture in this piece that we'll get to. There's like even like weird. I don't know what happened to his best friend. They're like something has to intersect with his best
Cam?
friend.
You mean Cam?
Yeah, Cam? Yeah.
Up next, we have an op-ed by someone who had their name made fun of at an open mic and never recovered. Fucking never recovered.
My God. I mean, like, we're obviously like regressing culturally in every way. Like you guys were talking about the MAGA TV renaissance that's upon us, like corruption fully normalized. And now we're just getting op-eds from white men about how hard life is. And
you were talking about like people seeing something and being like, I can do that. This guy saw like James Baldwin's writing.
Yeah, exactly.
I can do that.
I am the same.
This is a lot like when he went to Paris. But like, yeah, this is on Business Insider. It's a really weird, like they have everything from like these M&Ms are climbing up the charts to like political news to then other ones, like so many anecdotal stories like how I left my job in marketing to be a digital nomad and why I don't regret the decision.
Up until that last one, it sounds like this show.
Yeah, truly.
M&Ms mixed with political stuff.
Political things and I'm a digital nomad. But we are going to continue the tradition by talking about this one. Like I said up top, it's called My Name is Chad. Yes, I'm white, work in office jobs, and sometimes I wear a vest. And
are you happy is the implied.
When I saw this like head, I was like, okay, where is this going? I was like, maybe this is going to be some kind of reflection on whiteness and how oppression works or something. Nope. The piece starts off with the author, let's call him Chad because that is his name, talking about how loaded the name Chad is, like in interactions. He says he references like it couldn't escape it in like the 80s and 90s. There was like the surfer Chad. Then the 2000 election, they were hanging and pregnant Chads.
Oh my God.
And now there's like the internet.
Cares?
Now there's like the internet. Like if you're doom scrolling, people talk about Chads all the time and like Giga Chads. So
Chad, like the 90s Chad thing, by the way, was the most like benign, toothless fucking joke.
Yeah.
Like it was like made specifically
even a
like
joke.
by and for Jay Leno's like super workshopped fucking like focus grouped comedy bits. Like it had nothing. It was in no way like other than being sort of annoying that people would be like, oh, Chad, hanging Chad. Like for him to act like that was a hardship tells us everything we need to know heading into this article.
I just want to show like this guy's face is so funny because like he's holding.
Oh, I want to see him.
He's holding.
Oh my God.
He's holding a bottle of beer. It says Chad.
Dude.
And then so he goes. He talks about how the name is like everywhere, and he says, quote, still I worry about it because my name is Chad, and sometimes I look like what people think that means, even if I'm not. And he talks about how he's like, I used to even put empty beer bottles on a bookshelf when I was in college. And then he goes on. He's like, being named Chad guarantees a daily dose of perspective, and I'm determined to use it well. It's a reminder not to take myself too seriously. I like that part. He goes on about when it starts getting a little bit dodgy being named Chad. The only time I truly worry about my name is in professional settings. It's hard not to picture a hiring manager, a potential client, or editor seeing my name and shaking their head. So I hedge from time to time, using my initials, CW, in place of Chad. CW, another thing that is violently white.
Yeah, also has a weird cultural connotation. Just think of me as the CW, babe.
I go by Michigan J Frog.
To hedge and make sure there's no negative connotation associated.
My resume starts with "Hello, my baby." Hello, my honey.
Exactly. And then it goes, I don't want something so trivial to be the difference between success and failure. I feel I owe it to myself to let the work speak for me, not the name. In which, when I read that, I became the Willy Wonka meme of, please tell me more tell me about your dark world in which you have to survive.
He thinks he's inventing the idea of discrimination.
Yes. Totally.
Now. Like he's
the Columbus
it just
of
popped
white
into his
oppression.
head, and he was like, somebody needs to write about this.
Yeah, and the idea of emotions too. Like I also just feel like this is a white man grappling with the reality of he may have had an emotion at some point.
What was that?
What the fuck was that?
What the fuck was that? Oh, thank God, my empty Heineken bottles are still on the shelf. You're still Chad. You're still Chad. I was like, man, I really honestly. So he'll go on. I still just can't, like, the idea. I'm like, oh, Chad, what is it like to be completely judged based on rigid cultural archetypes? It makes you worry about how people will perceive you, right? I mean, like, that by having the name Chad, they will flatten you into some kind of meme that robs you of your individuality. I mean, I just haven't thought of the nuances before this, Chad. Go on. He wraps the piece up about how he misses his best friend.
This is where it gets so weird.
I know some things about the name Chad that others don't. Like when I hear it spoken by my wife, who doesn't say it often, I can't help but feel a small flutter in my chest. Or when I think of my childhood best friend, whom I haven't...
Sorry, that's not the thing about the name Chad. But all right, sorry, go ahead.
Right. It's not that it's your name, it's that your partner's talking to you.
It's that your wife said your name and you got a little bit horny. But again, he thinks he thinks he's the only person who has felt things. Like,
that's the power of the name. If your name's Jack, you ain't feeling that shit.
Oh man.
Sorry.
It's also really that sentence could have a mountain of subtext of like, hey buddy, why doesn't she ever say your name? What's going on? I hope they just walk around in icy silence.
She normally, like most wives, just grunts in my direction and seems generally disappointed whenever she looks at me.
Oh, you're still here? I thought you said you were going to go right at the Starbucks today. All right. Just don't bother me. I have calls starting at 11. So then it's unique to Chad. Then he goes on, or when I think of my childhood best friend, whom I haven't spoken to in years, I remember the way our names were always said in a pair, Cam and Chad. And I smile because there are lots of stories caught in between the utterance of those names together. For better or worse, Chad is my name, and I still long to hear it said again in the voice of people who are no longer here and whom I miss dearly. And it goes on. I remember it's like, and that's sort of like the last sort of paragraph.
Which, by the way, the fact that he hasn't talked to his childhood best friend is the closest he can get to a tragedy.
Exactly. He is a fucking tragedy-seeking missile. He is just doing anything he can to find anything to be like, I have faced hardship too.
Yep.
There's that SNL sketch, Drunk Boyfriend, where the drunk boyfriend starts crying about his dad. He goes, my uncle.
Randomly at 3 in the morning.
At 3 in the morning crying about an uncle who you've never heard of before, who died 7 years earlier. And I used to think that was the greatest encapsulation of a certain type of white person until I read Chad's article.
It's also, I will defend Chad briefly and say that, yes, he's co-opting oppression, which is a nightmare, but it's basically like, this is all solved immediately in half a therapy session. This is not a news article. Go say that you had two feelings and discuss what it means with a therapist.
My wife hates me and I miss Cam.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Right, but then I will say he adopts what happens usually with these dudes is they adopt rebellion, which they don't need at all. They are the oppression, right? But he does turn it using therapy ideas, so at least he's not becoming like violently outraged about it. Although, as somebody named Mort, I'm like, yeah, try people thinking that your name means that you're a fucking hot air balloon captain. You know what I mean? Or like,
I feel like Mort is opening yourself up to more bits where people are going to fuck with you. Then like Chad, you're like, yeah, whatever, Chad.
Yeah, I go to a job interview and like, all right, this guy's a Borscht Belt comedian from the 1800s, I guess. Fuck it. Yeah.
Where they're like, oh, I wasn't expecting you.
Yeah,
I used to be called like jack off or jack me off or, help your uncle jack off. I haven't thought about that fact until reading this article. Like the idea that this person is just stuck in those initial hanging Chad jokes and like so wounded by them is just.
Well, and Chad is a name for like Giga Chad, all that stuff. It's a name for a hot guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know it's shorthand to be like, dude, that dude's a fucking Chad.
Yeah.
It's not like, that dude's again, this is him having to create his own oppression because that's just what he's been trained to do.
You hear my name and you're like, that guy, you hear my name and you're like, that guy probably has a really weird boner. It's a very...
weird boner, Werther's Originals on tap.
Oh, yeah, Mort. Yeah. Ugh. Dude, Mort's coming.
And by the way, I love my name and I love who I am, and I think I'm doing wonderful things with it. I'm trying to be less
especially when your wife, when you hear your wife say it, but also, God damn it, if you didn't miss Cam.
That's the thing. Like, I'm glad that he's admitting that his heart flutters. I think that's
good.
That's nice, actually.
It's funny. Like, I could have been fine with this whole thing if just at one moment, even if for 1 moment, it could have been more palatable if he just exercised just a fragment of awareness.
Right. Yes,
and could be like, this is.
Yeah. He's like, this pales in comparison to being judged based on your name alone. Ask anyone with a non-American white-sounding name. Ask a gender fluid person what that's like stepping in a room. People are like, oh, I don't know if that's your name. That even if you could acknowledge that and how trivial this is, then it would maybe you could kind of bring this around to something funny. But it's just like, my name's Chad, and they made fun of me in the 90s and the 2000s, and where's Cam? Okay, dude, I don't know, man. Why did you publish this, Business Insider? It's interesting that, like, in the HTML, like the URL of this piece, it's not like, usually sometimes they'll spell the whole article name out. It just said, it's businessinsider.com/my name is widely despised. I love it anyway.
Yeah. And it's just Chad. It's just Chad.
It's fucking Chad.
This is the premise of an article written by somebody named Jeffrey Epstein. Like that's, like that should be what it is. But instead it's just somebody who is just fucking digging, just reaching so hard, just my dirt name is, under their fingernails. Just
my name is Dry Ass Bussy, and I'm learning to live with it.
Middle name Ass, first name Dry, all capitalized, Bussy.
Yeah, I could have taken this in a way that's like, and in many ways, like the discrimination I've faced around the name Chad is probably more good than bad and has helped me in ways that I haven't even noticed or realized. And the name Chad probably, born on second and not realizing it, thinking I hit a double.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but instead, it's just, he's exercising his poetry bone.
Exactly. Well, the follow-up piece that's coming out Monday from Business Insider is called "I Am Karen, Hear Me Roar." Parenthetical starts recording on her phone and crying hysterically. Is the name of that.
Even that one, I'd be like, yeah, I'll hear you out, Karen.
Yeah, Karen,
Chad is so wild.
You don't want to be called Karen. You just don't. We're just that's what the culture has done to that name. Now, Chad, whatever, bro. Just fucking.
I'd love an essay from Karen Kilgariff about like what the past 5 years have been like.
Right, sure.
Like
someone with
an
the
actual fucking hilarious person
thinker
who could speak about it. And anyways.